Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 293.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two
crazy
crazy ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome.
Yes, welcome. If you are new here,
different things like recipes. We talk about various keto topics, and every Monday we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
you can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X.
And we have a website, which is twoCrazyKetos.com, and that's where you're going to find all the different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time we're dressed like Johnny Cash and June Carter, you'll be alerted to it. I guess the memo was we're black today.
We're black. I just grabbed whatever. I'm wearing a big beard badge.
I've got my Keto Brain shirt on because it's super comfy. You know, if it's a comfortable shirt, you're more like apt to just reach for it.
Yeah. So welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch. If you are new here, Keto Beyond the Couch is all about our subscribers. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. We do it live as much as possible. And we like to just celebrate our subscribers and answer questions that we found on our social media from the last week. So if you are new here, the way we do this is we go over all the questions, comments, and pictures and stuff from the last week. The last 10 or 15 minutes we'll address the chat. So if you have a question, hold off to the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Stick with us.
Or use the super chat function down below, which we greatly appreciate. It does support the channel. This is our full-time job. People do ask us, where do we find the comments from? Responses to YouTube videos, and a lot of stuff comes off of our Mighty Networks group. That's our community group. It is free. You can join there at members.twoCrazyKetos.com. If you get a lot of value out of our channel, we would greatly appreciate you supporting us by doing one of the paid memberships at $5, $10, or $25. So we are back in Arcadia.
We're back, baby.
We drove about 11 or 12 hours on Saturday. And then yesterday we drove about 9 or 10 hours.
I'm going to tell you, I would stay keto if the only benefit was road tripping. Because going on a road trip used to be so painful, so awful. Like, invariably, we would get into a fight of some sort over some ticky-tack thing because we were having, like, that, you know, the ups and downs of carb crashing with all of the road trip food that we used to eat pre-keto.
Right.
Now it's a delight. I mean, you stop the car because, okay, it's dark and we don't want to be towing this giant trailer in the dark, right? Because of other people on the road, not just yourself, but I mean, now it's like we feel great. I don't feel like I need 2 days to recover from it.
I had the energy to drive straight through. It was like 1,400 miles.
And the common sense not to.
And, you know, it was like, I think 18 hours if you never stop, which obviously you're going to stop.
Right.
So it worked out to be about 21 hours with stopping and things like that. But for me, I just, like Rachel said, I'm towing a 10,000-pound, 34-foot trailer behind me. I don't want to drive through the mountains of Tennessee in the dark with no streetlights and not know the grades and things like that, because there are some periods where you have like 6% inclines and declines, and you know you have to use the exhaust brake and stuff like that. So, but energy-wise, yeah,
awesome.
If it wasn't for keto, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, let's jump right into Keto Beyond the Couch. If you're new here, yes, there is a topic. It's regarding one of the comments, which we'll hit on a little bit later on. So the first thing we have is a post from Jennifer.
Beautiful
Keto
Jennifer.
College Adjunct Professor of the Week. She put up this little post that says, "Do not waste time thinking about what you could have done differently. Keep your eyes on the road ahead and do it differently now." And it's funny because last week I was actually coaching somebody. I did a coaching call, and we were talking about, like, well, I wish I would have done this in the past, or I wish I would have known this. And for me, it's about, you know, yes, hindsight is 20/20. If you know better, you do better. I like to equate it to, listen, it's like doctors. If doctors are just educated that we're supposed to just take a bunch of medications and not address the food aspect of our eating lifestyle and our health, And that's how they've been trained, which unfortunately it is. It's not their fault. They get very little nutrition in school. They are controlled by the drug companies and the insurance companies. I recently watched an interview with Dr. Drew, and he was talking about 70% of doctors are employed.
Right.
And a lot of that employee comes from insurance companies. Insurance companies dictate whether or not you should get a statin. Insurance companies dictate whether or not you should get a vaccine, where they literally come in and say, if you don't give this patient a statin, we're not paying you.
Right.
If you don't make this patient take a vaccine, we're not paying you. So their hands kind of get tied. But when the doctor's eyes are opened, when they start to realize, oh, wait, maybe there is a better way, and then they continue, now it's on them. Before that, it's not on them. But once they start to notice it, once, a bunch of their patients come in and go like, hey, doc, I reversed my type 2 diabetes by not eating sugar, and they start going, huh, but then they continue to tell people eat sugar, well, now it's a different story.
Back to her post, talking from like a personal level, when a kid is really little, a lot of times a teacher or like a parent is going to catch that child just staring off into space, and they're going to say, stop just daydreaming, because they want them to be at the present task. They want them to be working on the present task. And so they're like, hey, little kid, stop daydreaming. I think that once we get into adulthood, instead of daydreaming, we do a lot of negatively driven time traveling. Yeah. Where we try to, we're not actually going there. Just like when you're daydreaming, I wonder what it would be like to ride a unicorn, and you're not going to be riding a unicorn. The same thing with a negatively based and motivated time travel is just a lot of energy spent dreaming about what might have been, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Right. And that's really just an energy zapper, a time zapper. You just do not have time and energy that is worth spending on that, because you can't do anything with it.
Yep. Next up, we have a keto subscriber of the week. It's Terry.
Hey, Terry.
Terry put a thing up last week. It said, our daughter got married on Saturday. It was my first and last time to be mother of the bride. 6.5 years of keto definitely made me feel more confident. And then she put up a picture, but then she also put up a picture on the Keto Palooza site, and I asked her if I can use it because I wanted to show you a before and after.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Wow.
And on the before picture, she said, when Keto Peeps here, you have been living this lifestyle for 6.5 years, and they want to see your before photo. Yikes, I'm so thankful. Look at her, and then look at her in this gorgeous dress at her daughter's wedding.
With her brothers, you could not have picked a better dress. A lot of times you're like, you try to find a dress that was just made for you. Like, I definitely think that dress was absolutely made for Terry. Perfect color, perfect fit, just gorgeous, gorgeous look. And I think it's important, I don't think Terry would mind sharing that Terry has had to go through a lot of health concerns, like, through her keto journey. It's not just a matter of she has stayed keto in order for her to, be maintaining really good health, and it's the only obstacle that she's having is the keto way of eating itself. She had to experience like a traumatic brain injury, and she has really just been so amazing during this keto journey, just such a motivator to so many. She's had such a great attitude through this entire process. And so it's just, I love seeing her victorious. I love seeing people that have worked so hard. They have been so consistent, no matter what the obstacles in life, just maintained a good attitude, and look at the fruit of that labor. Yeah. Like, just amazing. Congratulations also to your daughter and new son-in-law.
Next one is from Carolyn.
Hey, Carolyn.
Say, goal achieved. I've been working on my fitness over the last few years, and this was a goal I'd hoped to achieve someday. Today was that day. Biggest climb, 391 feet.
Wow. I love that for Carolyn, and for so many, the someday is right now. Talk about no more daydreaming, and we're day doing. We are doing the things that we want to do. Like, we are not establishing a bucket list like, hey, one day out there before I die, I would like to do this thing. We're doing a present day. I intend to continue living longer, but like this is an important thing to me, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it now. And I love seeing people check those
I
things
love
off.
seeing people live life beyond the couch. I mean, that is the motto of both of our channels. Live life beyond the couch. As you're getting healthy, don't stay on the couch.
Right.
Don't stay on the couch. Go
Don't
do
waste
something.
it.
Go. You know, it's cool because you're taking back your life, but now do something with it. You don't have to be like us and go RVing. You don't have to be like Carolyn and go bike riding. You can, there's so many things you can do. Go to a local park and walk around.
Yes.
You know, I mean, as leaves are changing, you know, we got to see the beginning of the leaf change up
So
in
beautiful.
Indiana. Go walk through the woods. So many different things you can do, but definitely please get off of the couch as you take your health back.
Doing something we could never do before is a reward for consistency. Yep. We just don't exercise that a lot, you know, but if you're like, hey, you for a long time, you have a list of things that you're like, I don't think I could ever do. Start writing down that list on paper and see, okay, well, what could I do? Because these are things I thought I would never do. You never thought I will walk an entire day through Disney World without a wheelchair or without a motorized scooter. You have crossed that off of your list because you can do that thing now.
That's right. Next one is from Trish.
Trish
said, progress might be slow, but small wins add up to big results. Keep pushing forward.
A win is a win.
That's right.
I think it's funny that you don't get to the Super Bowl like teleported without all of the games and all of the practices and all of the scrimmages that lead up to that moment, right? Like if you want to be a contender, you got to start training now. You got to start living now. And every single win is a win that's heading you in the direction of your ultimate goal. But like, keep going, right?
Next one is from Jamie.
Hey, Jamie.
Said, I saw something on a poster that fits here. It doesn't matter how slow you go, you are lapping everyone that's still on the couch.
Amen. If you're going to compare yourself, and that was something that I really tried to talk about, is very undermining when it comes to your keto journey during our presentation at Ketopalooza. But if you are just insistent on comparing yourself, compare yourself to the version of you that didn't try, that wasn't pursuing consistency, where you're thinking like, I'm just a person that can't do things, and I can't do hard things. I could never get off of sugar. I could never go a day without this or that. Like, compare yourself to that version of yourself because you're not there any longer.
Next one is from Donna.
Hey, Donna.
Does anybody know if Joe puts bacon on a rack in the smoker for jerky? And I did respond to this. So yeah, so if you don't have a dehydrator and you have a smoker, you can make bacon jerky in a smoker. Obviously, it's going to have a smoke flavor. Now, if you have an electric smoker, it's even easier.
Yeah.
If you want to dehydrate in a smoker, now is the time to do it. Not so much during the summer, because depending on the smoker you have, if you have like a pellet grill, a lot of times you can't get it to a low enough temperature, where the lowest temperature you can get is like 170, 180 degrees. And you really want to have it at a low temperature. But if you have an electric smoker, or if it's now getting cooler out, where that smoker isn't so hot, it's a great time to use a smoker. If you have an electric smoker, you don't have to put pellets in there. You can just set the temperature. But you always want to, when you're making bacon jerky, whether it's in a smoker or in a dehydrator, you want it on some kind of a rack. You want the grease to drain through. In a smoker, because your grates are wider apart, kind of like an oven, I get like the silicone vented mats, and I put it on there, and then everything kind of drain through. Very similar to what you would see in a dehydrator. Next one is from Amy.
Hey, Amy. Something Rachel said at Ketopalooza really resonated with me this weekend about emotional eating. Here I am at 9:30 at night, just grabbing whatever I can get, and her voice popped in my head from her speech, and I thought, well, I'm not stressed or upset, but I am exhausted, and exhaustion is a form of stress, and here I am pushing myself further, and instead of relaxing and getting rest, I'm eating while I'm doing more chores. Although I'm not going to beat myself up too much over it, because I don't think I ate enough this weekend, so it could be my body telling me I just need more. thank you to Crazy Ketos for your wonderful wisdom. I really love your powerful delivery in your message. I'm not sure how you learned to speak like you do, but it is wonderful. Wow, thank you so much, Amy. I really, really appreciate that encouragement. I also appreciate the opportunity to slay my own personal negative thoughts that I can't do hard things, that there's nothing that I have to offer separate from Joe, that I can't speak in front of people because of social anxiety or past references. So I'm thankful to continue pursuing my purpose in life and my personal goals, and I really am so thankful and grateful that the Lord gave me, that opportunity to speak.
Yeah, now as far as us speaking, listen, we're not like trained speakers or
No.
debaters or presenters. It's just passion.
Yeah.
It's like when you are passionate about something,
I want people to get healthy.
it's very easy to talk about it. I mean, Rachel and I were talking about stuff this morning, and like, maybe I should talk about this, or I wish I could talk about that. And, we just we choose to not talk about certain topics, especially things like politics or religion or things like that. Because if my views on something are against somebody else's views and they choose to not watch us and possibly not get the help that they need, I feel like their lack of getting healthy is my fault, because I gave them an obstacle to getting healthy.
Yeah.
So that's why we kind of, it's kind of like today's topic. I mean, but for us, it's, I want to do whatever I need to do to help you get healthy. For some people, it's carnivore. For some people, it's the lion type. For some people, it's keto with a sweet potato. But I'm not against any of them. What I'm against is big food and big pharma controlling what we eat, how we eat, what we do to our bodies, and then also people who are pushing overly processed foods. That's why we do product reviews. If a product shows up in a grocery store, to me, it is fair game to rip it apart, because so many things get labeled keto and they're not going to help you on your keto lifestyle.
I think one thing that really drives us in wanting to, share and present different things, and not just talk about our story, but hopefully like help have some, teaching on different things, is I like people getting the answer to their question. Things can be so frustrating. Today I put out information in our stories. I put it into into Two Crazy Ketos family and the Mighty Networks, talking about why does somebody post-menopause want to avoid, like the plague, sugar and overly processed carbohydrates. Why? Because I think you're going to see that they trigger some frustrations that we find common in post-menopause, but we're beating our heads against the wall going like, what is the problem? Why can I not help myself? Why, when I start eating, can I not stop eating? Why is it that like I'm having so much fluctuations in my weight and weight gain? Like these are frustrating things, and I like people getting the answer to that question so that they can make decisions for themselves.
Yep. Next one up is from Mandy.
Hey, Mandy.
Okay, I need everyone's help. This will be my first holiday season on keto, so I need all of the substitutes. If I can find recipes that are close enough to our traditional favorites, I won't have to make duplicates. Ready? Go.
I love it.
This is super easy. Okay, we have a few recipes on our website. Holidays, Thanksgiving, turkey, completely keto. Okay, and by the way, don't listen to the lies that turkey causes you to go to sleep because
it's the carbs.
Because of tryptophan and all that stuff. It's actually the carbs.
Right.
There's plenty of documentation that shows that when you get exhausted after eating Thanksgiving dinner, it wasn't the turkey. It was the carbohydrates that you were eating along with the turkey. So, what can you do? I'll give you a few we have on our website and a couple others.
Cranberry sauce?
Cranberry sauce. We have a keto cranberry sauce. I, for one, am a huge cranberry sauce fan. Cannot do holidays without cranberry sauce. Cranberry sauce, super easy to make keto. We have a recipe on our website. We also have a video on how to make it. Pumpkin pie, super easy to make keto. Lots of recipes. I know Nisha and Kim Howerton have one.
Stuffing.
Speaking of Miss Nisha, she has probably the best ever keto cornbread recipe. We actually modified it a little bit. If you go find our
batter,
our stuffed waffle maker recipe, where we make cornbread hot dogs.
Oh, it was good.
We just modified hers a little bit because we're from the South and we like our cornbread to be sweet. So there's that. Mashed potatoes, use cauliflower. What else? Oh,
Carnivore mac and cheese.
carnivore mac and cheese. Here's a huge one, and that is sweet potato casserole.
Yes.
So sweet potato casserole, if you go find Keto Connect, has an amazing sweet potato casserole. And we may have a version of it, but their version is really good. Basically, you're using pumpkin. You're going to use pumpkin, and it really comes out well. Pumpkin and then also cauliflower, because pumpkin can be a little bit higher in carbs, but use some canned pumpkin, use cauliflower, you cook it up. All the stuff that you would put in sweet potato casserole other than marshmallow fluff goes in there. I've never given it to somebody and they didn't know it wasn't sweet potato casserole.
No, it's awesome. We also have like lots of casseroles. One of everybody, a lot of feedback that we get back is our cheeseburger casserole is a huge holiday favorite. We have all kinds of desserts that you can bring. Remember, don't Lion King it. Don't bring anything to a holiday gathering or a potluck and Lion King it and go, this is keto, everybody. I want you to know it's sugar-free, because that causes a wall to be built up.
Yeah, we were actually talking to Dr. Chow and Dr. Lenskis, and we were talking specifically about that. And listen, here's the thing. You're going to get some people going, oh, well, you should tell people it's keto. Why?
Why?
Okay, if you put down a cheesecake, there's another dessert. Cheesecake, we have a lot of cheesecake recipes. Cheesecake's one of the easiest keto desserts to make keto, because you literally just have to swap out the sweetener, okay? When you look at something like a cheesecake, nobody is looking at a cheesecake going, oh, that's fat-free. I can't have fat. If you're eating cheesecake, you're used to having fat, right? Okay, so now if you're using something like almonds, maybe you want to put contains nuts, but you would do that with anything. If you're going to a potluck, you would put that down with anything. Whether it's standard American diet or it's keto or it's paleo, you would normally put down contains nuts, because so many people have nut allergies. But a casserole, I don't need to advertise this doesn't have sugar. Let them try it, because so many times when they try it,
they're like,
oh, this is really good. And then maybe you might want to tell them later if you're trying to get them over to your side. I mean, we have done that. But there's no reason to really announce that this is keto. Another great one, green bean casserole.
Yes.
Green beans, though they're a little bit higher in carbs, listen, they're still a whole food. They're still a vegetable. They're not ridiculously high in carbs. It is Thanksgiving. You can use pork rinds instead of French onions. You can use something like the creamy mushroom or the cream of chicken soup base if you want to make it thicker. So a lot of times you would use like Campbell's condensed chicken. Use the Keto Chow cream of chicken soup base, and then some heavy cream, and it gives you that really nice creamy thing. Or again, you can use the cream of mushroom one.
I was gonna say, and then check out Joe's pie crust recipe. Works great with every pie. Yep. Like it's amazing.
We have a thing on how to make apples.
How to make
cinnamon apples.
Cinnamon apples. If you enjoyed that from Cracker Barrel, you are gonna love the no apple apples. It's the no apple apples. Like, we have a lot of different dips that you can enjoy on there. There's a lot of things. The Keto Chow drop biscuits are another blessing for the holidays. So you're gonna be fine.
Also, consider changing it up. Who says that Thanksgiving has to have turkey or ham?
We a lot of times do beef, steak,
bacon, eggs.
Because basically Thanksgiving is all about
community.
Want to enjoy. Well, and I mean, community certainly, family certainly, but it's all about like, I want to enjoy this meal. I am working hard to have a beautiful meal, and if my picture of a beautiful meal is brisket, well, then let's have brisket, right?
Next one is from Sabrina.
Hey, Sabrina.
How do you melt keto bricks to put in mold? On the stove or in the microwave? You can do both. So if you're new to us, we like a product called Keto Brick. Going to talk about it in a little while.
Yeah.
Keto Brick is made by a gentleman named Robert Sykes, Keto Savage. He has been keto for probably about 12 years now. He is a natural competitive bodybuilder. Designed the product for himself to give himself some more calories and fat. Very, very, very clean ingredients. But each brick is 1,000 calories, and a lot of people like to break it down to just have like a couple of hundred calories. So how do you melt it down? So you can do it in the microwave, or you put it into a glass or silicone bowl, please. Don't use plastic. Please don't ever put plastic in a microwave. Melt it for 30 seconds, stir it, and we've gotten videos on it. Or if you're going to do it on a stovetop, you can do it on a stovetop. Think about just like melting chocolate, use a double boiler.
Yeah.
Next one is from Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
I've learned a great money-saving trick from Rachel. Thrift shopping.
Yay!
Especially as I'm losing weight. I hope to be wearing these 18s and 16s for a half a year or so. I went to the thrift store, bought 5 or 6 pairs of jeans for less than the price of one new pair, and I'm set.
I think that it is, I mean, hear me out. If you are like, if your memory of a thrift store experience was like a junk store, I've got good news. There are so many thrift stores that have kind of like changed their layout. It feels much more like a boutique experience. If you're like, I have not seen a thrift store like that yet, keep driving because you will find one. Use Yelp, use Google Maps to find thrift stores near to you. And I'm going to tell you that yes, it is fun when you start losing weight. When I started going down from 300 pounds and I felt like loose in my clothes, that was very, very nice. But at some point, it becomes like I can't wear these pants to work anymore because I may like embarrass myself by bending over and then I lose my pants. So where do I start? Where do I start buying clothes? Before you go and pay hefty prices for, you know, a regular traditional store. And I mean, even Walmart and Target sometimes can be, you know, $25 for a shirt. And you're like, I really can't afford that. I don't want you to stay where you are and decide I can't lose any more weight because I can't afford to.
Yeah, especially as you're losing weight and you're going to continue to drop in size, go to thrift stores where you can buy jeans for $5 or $6.
Yes.
And unpopular opinion, my advice is go to local little thrift stores. Look for ones that benefit different charities. Like Rachel loves to go to one called Women in Distress that helps and benefits women who are in abused, battered situations.
Get out and find safety.
Unless it's the only thing you have, I would stay away from Goodwill. Just because they're more of a for-profit at this point. Their prices tend to be higher. But when you go to the little local thrift stores, and this is my experience, Rachel's even more of a thrift shopper than me. But when you go to the local ones, that's a lot of times where you find ones, especially when they're benefiting good charities. That's where you find the gems, where you find $200 dresses that still have a tag on them.
Right.
Because people want to feel good
about
contributing. And so they donate these things to them over places like Goodwill and stuff like that. You know, so I would look for those kind of places if you can. Next one is from Jane.
Hey, Jane.
Was anybody else offended by Dr. Barry talking about keto shakes and bars and keto brick being bull?
Blankety blank.
Blank blank. Okay, so this is kind of today's topic. Are keto products keto? First, let's say this. There is no such thing as a keto food. It's a very unpopular opinion.
That's hard to take.
There is no such thing as a keto-friendly food. Hear that again. There is a keto food. There is no such thing as a keto food. Even steak. There is keto-friendly food.
Right.
Is consuming this food going to help me stay in ketogenesis? What is ketogenesis? That is where your body will produce ketones. Okay? People confuse the terms. Ketosis is not your body making ketones. You can get into ketosis eating a ton of sugar. That doesn't mean eat a ton of sugar. What I mean by you can eat a Hershey bar. Mm-hmm. You can eat 10 Hershey bars and then go buy an exogenous ketone.
Yes.
And eat that, and your body will be in ketosis.
You'll see it on a
if you measure in a meter, your body will show ketones. Your body will be in ketosis. And what is ketosis? It is your body's act of currently using ketones for fuel.
Now, why will you be in that?
Because your body will always use exogenous ketones first. Okay, so the way your body works, oxidative priority, the first thing your body will always use for fuel, if it has it, is alcohol, because it's a poison. It cannot store it, so it will get it out. So if you consume alcohol, if you're a strict carnivore, you eat 5 carbs or less a day, and then you go consume a 0 carb alcohol, I don't care what the meter says, and I don't care what any expert tells you, you will not be in ketosis for several hours.
For science.
Even if you check that meter and the meter says you've got a 1.0 in ketones, you are not currently in ketosis when you consume alcohol for several hours, could be a couple days depending on how much alcohol, because your body has to deal with the alcohol. While it's dealing with the alcohol, it is using that alcohol for fuel, therefore it is not using ketones for fuel. After alcohol, the next thing that your body will always use for fuel is exogenous ketones. Ketones that you give to your body.
Your brain loves those.
That's how a company like Prove It can literally put a commercial on their website that says, this will help start the fire. It's a little cartoon thing. And you can consume sugar and cookies and take this and be in ketosis.
They're not lying.
They're not lying, but it is not nutritional ketosis, and it will not help you lose weight because your body is not using fat, it's using exogenous ketones. Okay, so after we say there's no such thing as a keto food, there are keto-friendly foods, foods that are going to help you. What should you be consuming on keto? When you look at your plate, I actually disagree with Dr. Berry. Dr. Berry says 50% meat. I think it should be higher. I think you should look down at your plate, and your plate should be probably closer to 75% minimum meat. And by meat, I mean eggs, beef, chicken, whatever you want. But meat, that's what most of your plate should be. If you want a little bit of green leafy vegetables, have at it. Understand you don't get a lot of nutrition from them, regardless of what the vegetarians and the vegans tell you.
It's a taste and a texture and a color thing.
If you want a little bit of cheese, have at it. But most of your plate should be meat. Now, the problem, and I saw his little short, understand who Dr. Berry is talking to. Look at the way he opened it. And he said, a lot of people come to keto and don't have a bunch of results. That is true. Because the food companies have gotten a hold of keto. And I'm not talking about companies like Keto Brick or Keto Chow. I'm talking about companies like Nabisco. I'm talking about companies like Campbell's. When you go to Costco and you walk down the aisle and there's 100 products labeled keto. But then when you look at the ingredients, there's sugar in it. And they're labeling it keto because they're going, it's got low carbs. That doesn't make it keto.
No.
There's no regulatory agency to say that they can put keto on the label.
Stamping it keto friendly.
I will tell you pretty much every keto bread that you can buy in the store is garbage. They pump it full of fiber so that you can then deduct that fiber.
Same for tortillas.
But they have wheat in them. Wheat is not a keto-friendly ingredient because it causes inflammation.
That's right.
Wheat will turn into sugar in your blood. Maltitol. Maltitol has been able, you can sell it to diabetics, but it will raise your glucose. If it's raising your glucose, it's lowering your ketones. Whenever you're jumping up your glucose like that, you will no longer be in ketogenesis. So your plate should mostly be meat. Is there anything, in my opinion, wrong with products like Keto Chow or Keto Brick? No, so long as that is not what you're eating on an everyday basis, and that is most of your food.
And there are people who get started, and because it is easy to just, all I'm going to do is I'm going to have the same behavior. I didn't cook food, or I only did, 90-second food pre-keto. I used a lot of packaged food pre-keto. So now that I am keto, I am only looking for the packaged food that takes 90 seconds to nuke that is labeled keto now. So that a lot of times can get you into a problem situation because you were making yourself a cheese sandwich with regular bread, and now you're just making yourself a cheese sandwich with keto bread that's marketed to you at the grocery store. So what you're looking for is the majority of your diet being whole food, real food, where you can say like, other than raising this cow myself, other than raising the chickens that made this egg, I'm pretty close to the origin of this food instead of it being in a packaged product. Now, where do we use packaged products? When we travel, when we don't have time to sit down and like cook a whole bunch of food.
We got home at 8 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
We are, as soon as this is over, heading back to Coconut Creek to go see Anthony and Sarah's new apartment, to then turn around tomorrow to come back up here. I haven't defrosted anything out of the freezer. Everything is still packed up. Literally everything is packed up from the hurricane in our storage unit. I don't have time to cook this morning. I don't want to make a mess because we're leaving, so I'm having a keto chow for breakfast. When we get back to Fort Lauderdale, we're going to have a bunch of burgers for dinner.
Right.
Okay, that's where we will utilize it. Dr. Barry is talking to the brand new person who just started keto, whose literal food day consists of they wake up in the morning and they get a box of Magic Spoon and they eat Magic Spoon for breakfast. Then maybe they eat some cheese. Then at lunchtime, they eat a bunch of Keto Quest bars. Then at dinner time, they eat another packaged product. Then they're eating keto bricks and keto bars and keto shakes. That's who he's talking about.
Yeah.
Remember this also. Nurse Nisha, Dr. Barry's wife, when she was pregnant with Becket, lived on keto chow.
Which, happy birthday to Mr. Becket.
Yes.
Actually, so can we sing to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Becket. Happy birthday to you and many more. So many more. Love that boy.
So when I had all of my dental surgery a couple years ago, I had to live on keto chow for a couple of weeks. Those are unique situations. But if you're having a keto chow a couple times a week because you're super busy, but most of your diet is meat,
You're fine.
you're fine. Now, you have to be careful with the stuff in the store. As Mary said, you have big food companies. They want to make money. And please, 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 I don't care what anybody tells you. Please, especially when it comes to a packaged product, only follow a total carb protocol.
Please.
Only follow a total carb protocol. Even if you're deducting the allulose, I would rather you up your total carbs, say like, hey, I'm going to have a dessert day today, and I am going to allow myself 40 total carbs because I'm going to have 25 grams of allulose. I'm fine with that. Most likely your body is not utilizing the allulose. Allulose is actually a phenomenal product, but you want to count total carbs. Number one, so that the companies can't screw you and scam you. And number two, so that you don't overdo it. I love the new Scrummy Sweets gummy bears.
Yes.
I know Dr. Boz likes a lot of her products as well.
Yeah.
Right? If I counted total net carbs, I'd consume 10 packages of those a day.
And no problem.
And by the way, between the fibers and the allulose, I'd live in the bathroom if I did that.
Oh, absolutely you would.
Right.
No, it's really important to us. I know that we sound like we're beating a dead horse here, but it's really important that you don't get scammed by big food. If you're wondering, like, gosh, I remember there was a whole bunch of stuff about big tobacco and how like evil and terrible they were. Isn't it so nice and magical that now we don't have to live with that in our life anymore? Guess what? Big tobacco went and purchased up big food. A lot of the big food companies.
They brought with them, when big tobacco started getting shut down and having to put up warning labels and everything else, they said, well, how would we keep making money? So they decided they were going to buy a bunch of food companies. As they've done that, they brought all of their scientists with them.
Because their ideas worked. They made people addicted. So they said,
and they're doing that in the food industry.
let's get into that lab and bring up the addiction. Let's make sure we are marketing this thing. Let's make sure that we are just slamming like
We need to do a video on that.
all of the media outlets with all of this really like rich nostalgia. Let's attach it. Let's make eating poorly cool and awesome and beautiful. You know, you see like things like a Capri Sun marketed to your kids. All the kids that are drinking it are having a great time. When you're seeing like, you know,
Gatorade's one of the worst products, but because of marketing,
so
every
athletic.
athlete drinks it.
Yeah, and when you talk about like different desserts and stuff, you're about to get a wave of holiday marketing in between every single like Hallmark romantic movie that's trying to say to you that self-care equals your favorite cookie, your favorite piece of chocolate, your your favorite sugary beverage, this is love to you. So we want you to be on your guard for that. Watch the Hallmark movie. I love the Hallmark movies, but make sure that at the time for a commercial that you are getting up and you are like getting in some movement and eating a piece of bacon and not falling for the nostalgia driven commercials.
So how do you know how do you know a good product? Let me turn this back off. How do you know whether it's a good keto product or a bad keto product? Number one, educate yourself on ingredients. Okay? If you turn it over and it's got a whole bunch of wonky fibers, think about it. If you see wheat in the label, I would run. If there's wheat in the label, it is not a keto-friendly product. I don't care how many carbs are in it.
Yeah.
Okay? Look for products that come from people who are actually living a ketogenic lifestyle. That products like Keto Brick, Keto Brains, Keto Chow,
the carnivore
bar. That's where you want to look. I will say this.
Scrummy.
Are we affiliates with some of these companies? Yes. You will never see us be an affiliate with a company of a product that we don't personally use.
No way.
That we have not personally vetted. That is why we stopped promoting Chalk Zero. Long before they ended their affiliate program, we stopped promoting them because we saw too many people having issues with their products where it was kicking them out of ketogenesis and skyrocketing their glucose. And we began to look for other products that possibly could be better, like RX Sugar.
Exactly.
Okay, let's take a quick fade to black, and then we'll come back. I need to arrange my desk better.
What do you have on your desk that has to be closest to you? What is always something that
I need a big setup. We need to build the studio, but first we have to fix the house.
We have to fix the house. I always have to have like a safe place for my coffee cup. Like it has to be near me, but also not able to destroy my computer, because how do I know? I've destroyed a computer with a cup of coffee before.
Yep. Okay, next one is from JJ. JJ said the biggest thing I learned this weekend is I need to quit it now.
Aww.
So I'm done with being out of focus and not treating myself with the love I deserve. I posted my vision board right on the pants. That is my next goal. Time to get focused.
I love this so much, JJ. You totally blessed my heart and my desire. I like came to Keto Palooza and I was like, Lord, I just want to encourage one person. I just want to have like, you know, a message that will bless somebody. And so JJ, thanks so much for sharing that. That's awesome. And I'm so excited. I think that that's a great visual, really practical way to bring a vision board to life. You're looking for tangible results. I love the fact that you didn't fasten a scale, you know, with a paper clip to your vision board. Your vision board needs to be something practical, whether it is a pair of pants you're going to put on, or maybe it is my movement goal is I'm going to tack on a brochure from a place that I want to walk around at for the whole day.
So I saw two things here I just wanted to address real quick so I don't miss them. Number one, John said you can live on keto chow. Chris Bear did it, but it's not meant to be 100% of your daily nutrition.
True.
So understand this. Chris is a very good friend of ours. We have talked about this. Chris himself will tell you keto chow is not designed to be your sole source of nutrition.
Right.
Chris will tell you that you should be eating meat. He designed keto chow because he says he's lazy. He's the least lazy person that I've ever met.
He's not lazy at
all. But I understand what he says by that. It's like you're busy. You don't have time. And in your couple of spare hours, you don't want to go slave over a smoker. So for those busy days, he designed Keto Chow so that he could make sure he got nutrition. But his meals are still mostly meat. He did 100 days of Keto Chow, number one, to test to see the effects. And number two, because he was checking fat sources in a collaboration with Dave Feldman for his study on lipids and cholesterol. And the best way to do it was using Keto Chow, because literally he could just change out Keto Chow. If you're doing testing, you want to try to keep everything the same as much as you can. So if he literally was eating the same exact food every single day, and the only thing he was changing was the fat source, it helped to really narrow down effect on cholesterol.
And check out his lab results, because he actually has it posted.
Yeah, he learned good fats for his body and bad fats for his body. But I will tell you, Keto Chow does not have enough protein for 3 meals a day long term.
Yeah.
And Chris Miriam will tell you the same thing. It's got about 75 grams of protein if you do 3 a day. That is not enough protein, especially for men. It's really below the minimum even for women. Okay, it is absolute bare minimum and will not help you with muscle growth. Will you survive? Yes. Will you thrive? Probably not. Most of your food should be meat, and you use Keto Chow for those on-the-go meals. The other one I just wanted to address real quick was Adriana said, I am 53 years old, keto eating. I work 10 hours a day, moving all day long, 5 days a week. How many calories and fat should I eat approximately? Number one, we don't look at calories, okay? Because counting calories is stupid. It doesn't work. I'll argue with anybody who says it does work, because Rachel ate 500 calories a day and gained weight. It is not about calories.
I won't argue with you.
There is a huge difference between 500 calories of Oreo cookies and 500 calories of steak. Okay,
Yeah.
There's just a giant difference.
We're looking for nutrient
So
density.
we're looking at nutrients, fat, carbohydrates, and protein. You should be eating a bare minimum of 100 grams of protein. A bare minimum of 100 grams to 150 grams of fat. That's your bare minimum. Bare minimum will be 100 and 100, like at least that. But it's really, there's so much more to that. We offer coaching if it's something that you're interested in, where we can really help you to figure out things. But if you're just getting started on keto, just eat until you are comfortably full, 2 to 3 meals a day, with no snacking in between. And again, most of your plate should be meat. And you should start with meat. If you have a salad, the salad should be after you're done with all the meat.
And I'm going to say that if you're looking for some information on, let's say, intermittent fasting, I would say begin with eating during daylight hours. That's a great way to start. A lot of times people are going from like, I snack all day long, I graze all day long kind of behavior, and then they jump into keto and they see a lot of keto people talking about fasting for long-term success. And I'm going to tell you that that is really going to be challenging. So if you're looking for a way to kind of begin closing, up that eating window, begin with daylight hours. Leverage the daylight.
Yep.
Right?
Next one we have, if I can get my cursor back, is from Carrie.
Hey, Carrie.
Just wondering what everyone is giving out for trick-or-treaters this Halloween. This is a great question, because Halloween's a couple weeks, which we will not be participating in this year.
Is the first one we're not participating in, because Anthony and Sarah's rehearsal dinner is on October 31st, because they're getting married on November 1st. So it's wild to me that we won't be doing, a bunch of Halloween stuff. But as far as trick-or-treating goes, I like to give out, first of all, we always have things like meat sticks and like cheese things like wisps you can give out if you're wanting to give out like food stuffs. The parents usually enjoy that as well, because they know that their kids aren't, finally something that I can actually pack into their lunch.
Give out bags of Scrummy Sweets.
The next day you can give out Scrummy Sweets.
Bottles of water, little toys.
We will give out electrolytes, and we try to have it available for the parents as
well.
Chris
Bear pulls his Blackstone out and cooks up like
bacon.
30 pounds of bacon and gives out bacon to everybody.
Yeah, so as people come
Nobody's going to refuse bacon.
And you're eating it right there, and it's like, talk about a great, it's fun. It's funny for the whole neighborhood. It becomes like a place for the neighbors to kind of gather, and like, that's just so much fun. But yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I shouldn't say nobody. I know some people for religious purposes don't have bacon, but
yeah.
Listen, bacon.
Give out
hamburgers. It's a great idea, especially if they see you out there cooking. Don't cook 20 pounds of bacon, put it in a bowl, and say take one.
You could do chicken drumsticks.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could cook those up.
Next one's from Ann.
Hey, Ann.
Is the American Cancer Society as bad as the American Diabetes Society? They want me to sign a petition for more funding from Congress. My opinion is pretty much every 3-letter agency is evil.
I'm going to say go look and see what are they recommending to people. What is like a cancer-free healthy diet. I like to see what they're going to recommend to people, based on that? What do they recommend? Because then if I'm like, I don't agree with that, then I am not contributing to that.
Here's what I'm going to say, and I don't want to upset people, okay? As the son of a physician who was an oncologist, my mother had colon cancer in 2002, survived with 0 chemotherapy. My father passed away from a really bad brain tumor where he died within 3 months of diagnosis. I personally would never give money to the American Cancer Society because it's more about funding more research about what drugs to give people. And I believe that we know the answer for many cancers is diet and nutrition and movement and our environment. And that you could really work on a lot of cancers if you address that first. But unfortunately, even the American Cancer Society, the American Diabetes Association, they're all still funded by Congress. They're all still funded by big tobacco and big pharma. And anytime they're getting money from outside sources like that, it raises a question for me because we know that big pharma controls Congress.
Right.
And then, so they're going to kind of tell the American Cancer Society and the American Diabetes Association, do this. Why does the American Diabetes Association push to still just eat a sugar diet? It's okay. Take your medication and eat sugar. They know that sugar raises glucose. Sugar causes diabetes. So why is the answer not what it was in the late 70s when I was a kid before the invention of products like metformin? Why is the answer just, you don't eat sugar ever again? You don't eat foods that turn into sugar ever again. Poof. Don't eat sugar. Don't eat products that cause sugar in your blood, and then you won't have diabetes problems anymore. But they don't do that. They push drugs. And that's all funding from Congress and from Big Pharma. Next one is from Bonnie.
Hey, Bonnie.
The need for connection and community is primal, as fundamental as the need for air, water, and food. Dean Ornish.
Absolutely. I could not agree with that more. I am so thankful for the Two Crazy Ketos family. We saw what community does, how it blesses lives, how it strengthens resolve at Ketopalooza. Ketopalooza is such a unique conference because it really is geared toward community hanging out together. It's like, yes, there are speakers, but the focus really is on building relationships. And I think everybody that attended Ketopalooza, you came back from it more resolved, not because I had something interesting to say or some new information to share. Not even, Dr. Barry and Maria was telling you something that was like enlightening. Your resolve is based on your this family, this community that's cheering for you, and you feel like, I can go another mile with this because I know people are cheering for me and love me and care about me, and I have a group of people that are interested in my journey and I can check in with.
Yeah, and like I said the other day, we were talking to Dr. Chow, and Dr. Chow was talking about him. Maybe it was Dr. Lenskis that mentioned, I don't remember which one of them, but talking about the fact that statistics have proven that people lose more weight in community when they're doing it, when they have support from friends or family members or they're in a community group. And that's not just keto, just statistically, when people try to lose weight, when they're doing it in a group, whether it be a weight loss challenge with a bunch of friends or their family is supporting them, they do better. I think it's essential in keto because we have so many people who don't understand the keto carnivore lifestyle. So many doctors and friends and health professionals and coworkers who don't understand it. I think it's essential here. But if you go back years ago, and I'm not talking about what you have currently where it's all about an app and money, but years ago, weight loss, where, with Weight Watchers, where you actually had just Weight Watchers stores. The reason that people were successful is they met in a group.
Yeah.
They sat down in a group and talked about their struggles. Years ago, when I was in college, you had like Nutrisystem, where yes, they sold food, but you sat together and talked in a group of what were you struggling with. And that helped you do well. It motivated you. It gave you ideas. And we've moved away from that. So having community is really important. And that's why you need to go, if you haven't already done it, and sign up at members.twocrazyketos.com to join our Mighty Networks group. Next one, if I can figure out where we were. Let me see. Was it this one? No.
That was that. That was that one.
Okay, so next one's from Mandy.
Hey, Mandy.
I am wearing a pair of suit pants that I haven't been able to wear for 3 years today.
Yeah.
I'm getting lots of comments about being so dressed up. I feel so great that I can finally get back into them and feel good.
The best thing that you might do for yourself today to maintain resolve is get dressed up. Do your hair. Smell awesome. Do that makeup. Wear something nice, because if you feel good, you're going to act good, right? Like, I think it's really important. Think back to when you would get a new outfit when you were a kid, maybe at Christmas, maybe at Easter, and you would dress up. Like, the whole way you acted that day was different than the way you acted in your play clothes, right? Because you were like, I'm maintaining some, like, pride. I want to act a certain way. I want to do certain things because, like, I look nice and I feel like I look nice. So I think even if you're home, Joe and I work from home, but it's very important that, like, we freshen up, that we make sure, like, I get dressed. I used to live that pajama pant life, right? Don't stay in your pajama pants. It's not good for your keto, because you need to get dressed and feel good about yourself.
Next one's from Leanne.
Hey, Leanne.
I'm coming to the end of what we always call a stall in weight loss, and I really thought I'd be more discouraged during the months where the scale wasn't moving. But how can I be mad when I feel this good? I've learned how my body can maintain even when I'm eating a lot of food. Keto has changed my mindset so much that the normal ups and downs are simply learning experiences now that will help me live this lifestyle forever.
What if we decide today that I am not going to identify as I'm in a stall today? How about we shift our mindset and we say we are in October 21st today. I am right where I need to be. I am all caught up. I am to the present. I am living right now, and I just refuse to say I'm stalled, right? Like, what happens when your car is stalled? You're like, I need somebody to tow it out of here. This is danger. I can't stay here. I'm upset. Like, this is frustrating. This is a place where, like, I don't want to be. Like, it's a very bad, it's a bad connotation, right? Stalled is not good. Stalled is something's broken. And I think it's really important for us to not live in a stalled mentality.
Because the bottom line is you're getting healthy.
Yes, you are.
But here's the thing. If you have a bunch of weight to lose and you have been stalled for more than 3 to 6 months, it's time to change some things up.
There you go.
You're doing either you pretty much are doing something wrong. It's probably something that you're doing wrong that you don't even know you're doing wrong. One of the biggest causes of a stall that a lot of people don't know they're doing wrong, because again, we have been brainwashed into calories in, calories out, is they are under eating. Because you have people say, oh, the weight loss stopped, lower the amount of food you're eating. That is not the answer. It is sometimes, but once you get to a certain level, if you've gotten yourself down to 1,400 or 1,500 calories, maybe even 1,300, I would say if you got to 1,300 for a couple weeks, but then stop that, that's one thing. But if you've gotten yourself down to below 1,400 or 1,500 calories, and that's what you've been eating, and you're in a 6-month stall, you're doing something wrong. And what are you doing wrong? You're not eating enough. And it is time to do a reverse diet. Now, some other things we could be doing wrong is we're eating carbs that we don't even know we're eating. That's something a lot of times we don't know that. We've allowed things to enter in that we don't even think about. We're snacking without realizing it. We've got horrible sleep schedules. But one of the biggest causes of a stall is people continue, they go from 2,500 calories to 1,800 calories, and then they're eating 1,000 calories. I would say 7 out of 10 coaching clients that call me up and go, I'm in a stall, and I'm like, okay, for the next week, I want you to track. Because I'll ask them, what are you eating? And they'll tell me, how much do you think you're eating? Well, I'm not sure, but I would say it's about 1,400 or 1,500 calories. And I ask them, for 1 week, we're going to track everything you eat. Let's see where you're at. 7 out of 10 times they're eating less than 1,000 calories. You're never going to lose weight doing that if you've been doing it for more than a couple of weeks.
The other culprit I find a lot is they don't realize that they're grazing. If you are counting every single lick, bite, taste, sample, crossing over into your lips,
including a piece of
gum, you're having a response to that. Your body is not distinguishing. I mean, we say to ourselves, I haven't eaten anything all day. I've had a 500-calorie coffee and I ate 5 peanuts, but I ate it 5 times throughout the day instead of 5 at mealtime. You're eating. Your body is not distinguishing or categorizing like a lick or bite or a taste as not a meal. Like everything.
Because your body produces insulin when it does that.
And you cannot lose weight in the presence of insulin. So I'm not saying that all of the things that you're enjoying, licking and biting and tasting and sampling, have it at mealtime. You're really trying to rein in your meal times to 2 to 3 meals a day and not having, sometimes when we have people track, okay, even just a tally system, where they're like, okay, every time I have a peanut or every time I drink a coffee, because of course I don't want to admit the fact that every normal size cup of coffee is like 4 calories. Like there's stuff happening every time we drink a beverage.
The average American eats 26 meals a day.
There you go.
Next one is from the Songbird.
Hey, the Songbird.
I've been using the Lingo, which is an over-the-counter CGM from Abbott, and I like being able to see what causes spikes. The numbers do not align with a finger stick, 20 units higher than a finger stick. My first one glitched out. About every 8 hours, they sent me another one. Yes. So I haven't gotten the Lingo one yet. I want to order the Lingo because, again, it's an over-the-counter one. Personally, people have asked me, I think that if you're looking for an over-the-counter and you are not a medicated diabetic.
Yeah.
Okay. If you do not need a CGM, you're doing this for testing, if you are not on insulin. If you're on insulin, the only CGM you should be using is the Dexcom G5, G6, whatever the latest one is. That's it. That's my firm belief. Scream and kick and jump up and down with your doctor and your insurance company. If you are a type 1 diabetic or if you're a type 2 diabetic, that is reliant on medication, you need to jump up and down that you want a Dexcom. Because the Dexcom G5, G6, whatever the latest one is now, you can actually calibrate. You cannot do that with the over-the-counter ones. You cannot do it with the Freestyle Libre 3. I think Abbott, when it comes to these over-the-counter ones, has better customer service. And I think that those are the better option in my experience. Now, I have not tried Abbott's over-the-counter one, but I can tell you my experience with Abbott with the Freestyle Libre 3. As far as being 20 units higher, that's completely normal. What you're looking at, especially if you're not medicating, you're looking for the trends. You're looking to see where the spikes are. It doesn't matter what the number is so much as what the spike is.
And please, if you are using a CGM, do not just look for spikes during and after mealtime. Be looking for spikes after a conversation with someone you love and a conversation that is like hectic to you. When you are in a stressful situation, because I'm telling you, a lot of times we're looking at the nutrition, but we're not looking for other stressors in our life that's causing like damage to our keto journey because we've got to deal with some stress issues.
Next one is from Finnegal.
Hey, Finnegal.
Which I did not realize was Jamie.
Hey, Jamie.
Just one thing I want to point out about sardines. The nutritional information assumes that sardines are drained. If you get the ones in olive oil, the caloric value of the tin goes from 170 calories to 530 calories if you drink the oil. I've had good luck with sardine fasts. They seem to help with healing. I make sure to get enough nutrition on non-fasting days. Thank you for letting... I did not know that.
Yeah,
I thought it was everything in the can. So thank you for letting people know that. Last one is from Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
I am a prepper too. I also get discouraged on basic prep items like sugar, flour, oats, and rice. Also, Starlink in my area is more expensive because so many people have it. Starlink should be the same price everywhere. So Starlink itself, now buying the Starlink dish, some places get a discount. Like the price I think is $4.99 or $5.99. but some areas where they're trying to get more people to get it, they lower the cost of the overall unit to $2.99. But everybody nationwide pays the same for service. The service is not cheap. It starts at $120 a month. If you're in a really congested area that it's not open, which that's kind of going away, you have to get the roaming one and you don't have priority. But everybody pays the same amount. If you're interested in Starlink, by the way, we have a link down below that gives you free months. So she said, we have regular service and internet are terrible here in Louisiana. She said, I did not realize heavy whipping cream has carbs. That's what I've been using. Yes, all heavy cream has carbs. 0.413 carbs per tablespoon. I don't care if you go out to your cow and create heavy whipping cream from the udders of the cow in your backyard. It still has 0.413 carbs per tablespoon. It could have more if you buy it in the store if they're adding a bunch of ingredients.
You're looking to see over the course of the day how much are you using and plug it in as one unit. So like let's say you over the course of the day you're using 4 or 5 tablespoons. Put 4 or 5 tablespoons in
at
versus
the end of the day.
Entering it in as 1, because 1 in a lot of tracking apps is just going to come out as 0.
Yeah, so even Chronometer, if you just go in and put 5 times throughout the day, 1 tablespoon, it's just going to keep showing you 0 carbs.
Right.
But if at the end of the day you put down, I had 4 ounces of heavy cream, which is 8 tablespoons, it'll show up in almost 4 carbs.
Right.
So it's all a rounding game. And that's what you have to know. They are legally obligated to round down. And so it's not really the food company's fault. It's the labeling fault and the FDA guidelines. But we need to be aware. People think that because the label says 0, it is 0. And understand that most foods are not 0 carbs.
Right.
Technically, even beef is not 0 carbs. It's got trace carbs, something that you do not need to worry about because it's like 0.000 something. Butter actually has carbs, but it is a minuscule amount. You'd have to eat like several cups of butter to get a couple of carbs in your day.
That doesn't sound like a bad afternoon.
Eggs have carbs,
yeah.
Okay? But when we look at anything with a label, assume it has a carb in it. All cheese has at least 1 carb per ounce, okay? But again, they can round down. And they do round down. So you see 0 and think it's unlimited. It's not unlimited.
I think
spices all have carbs.
I think it's very interesting, and I think that should set. Don't be afraid. Don't be mad or don't be angry. But you need to know what you're dealing with. If you are walking into a grocery store where labels are built to lie, like think about that. Like they are required to not tell you the whole truth, that they should omit some information, that they should round down. We should think about that. Like that's how you approach, that's how you walk into a store and that's your stance. It's not a fearful one. It's not an angry one. I just know what I'm dealing with. You study the opponent, study your competitor, right? So different companies are competing for your attention, right? Study and see what you're dealing with.
Let's get into some comments. Kimberly said, have you guys tried the Stello yet? Yes, I'm not a fan. It's not as reliable, in my opinion, as the Abbott's. You know, at least the Freestyle Libre 3.
Gloria, it's so nice to see your beautiful face.
Gloria said, I don't catch a live very often. I miss you. Been on a stall for a few months. On occasion, I track to make sure I'm under 20 carbs consistently. Patience is important.
Patience is important. Importante. Muy importante.
Okay. Rose said, thanks to Keto on the couch, the eat higher amount of meat and protein conversations is making it happen.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Much. Spirit Junkie said, I didn't realize how much eating late was stalling me.
Yeah, it's a thing. And also, you are giving yourself a reason to find something else to do at night. Joe will tell you, because he tends to be a night owl, that's where a lot of his eating chaos could be found in the past, because you're up late and you munch. So if you're saying, first and foremost, I eat only during daylight hours, when the cravings come at night, and you say to yourself, I'm sorry, but remember, I only eat during daylight hours. Now I need to find something else that will occupy my time and energy. Because really, a lot of times, this is a blessing. It's not a curse, it's a blessing. You are a brilliant, interesting person that cannot just sit in front of a television and sack out without your mind wanting more to do, to be more engaged. It's just that we live in a society where we've been taught, hey, until you feel sleepy, you're supposed to just sack out on the couch and like eat a bunch of treats, right? And that's how you close your day. You can find other things to do while you watch television, whether it is you're doing a crossword puzzle, a word search, you're playing a game, you're reading a magazine, you're putting together a puzzle. There's a lot of things that you can do to occupy your mind instead of just I'm counting the popcorn kernels.
Yep. Rose said, after hearing I need to eat mostly meat on my plate, I've been able to get back into ketosis and already lost 15 pounds.
Way to go, awesome. Rose.
Lady Fritzer said, for some people, there's no such thing as eating too much, even keto or carnivore. I agree, but I disagree. Listen, if somebody has a problem where, like, I can just eat, and I have no shut-off valve, they need to be eating, like, a beef, butter, bacon, egg, or carnivore thing. And they need to just literally eat until, for probably at least a week, if somebody has that kind of a struggle, they need to eat until the point of, like, if I eat one more bite, I'm going to puke.
Right. Just get yourself full.
Your body has a shut-off valve for meat. Most of the time when people think they can eat, and they have no shut-off valve, it's because they are not leading with meat. They're eating other stuff. They're snacking throughout the day. I have yet to meet a woman who can eat more than Rachel. I've yet to meet most men that can eat more than Rachel. Though Dr. Chow has challenged you on the low-carb cruise.
We're going to make that happen.
Okay, but
he thinks he can out-eat me. Foolish mortal.
I never will forget when we first started doing beef, butter, bacon, and egg with Dr. Berry more than 3 years ago, when we sat down with him and said, we're going to do this and bring light to this. And we interviewed him about it. And by the way, somebody recently put a comment on that video with Dr. Berry about they can't find his Patreon. Dr. Berry doesn't do Patreon anymore. He has his own Mighty Networks group called the Proper Human Diet Group. But I remember him telling Rachel, you can eat as much as you want, as many times a day as you want, so long as it is only beef, butter, bacon, and egg. And she was like,
you don't know me.
You don't know me.
You don't know me.
And if you go watch those first set of vlogs for 45 days where we vlogged every day, and she was like, I can't eat another bite. I mean, because your body has shut-off valves for protein. If in the rare case where someone doesn't even have that, there's something else going on.
Yeah.
There's something else going on where they're using food as a medication, and we need to address that too. And I am not opposed to counseling in those kind of situations. But I think that for the most part, most people who think they don't have a shutoff valve, they have a shutoff valve if it was to only be meat. It is going to be very difficult to cram 4 or 5 pounds of meat in your body in a sitting.
It is hard. I enjoy the endeavor. The pursuit.
Christine said, life on ketovore. I tell my husband I got on the scale today. He says, oh no, haha, but I'm down 2 pounds.
That's good. But it's funny that, like, that's an important thing to note. One of the many reasons why we eliminated the scale in our home is the toll that it took on our marriage. Because it really did affect our moods. It really did. We tried to say it's a tool, and some people say they're very successful with that, but it was not a tool that allowed us to have like romantic feelings after we stood on that scale. Because if I am disappointed, mad at myself, frustrated, I don't know what's going on, like, I come out of the bathroom and Joe has not done anything wrong, and he doesn't understand why I said, good morning, darling, and then went in, and then I'm coming out of the bathroom, and all of a sudden I had like this Clark Kent to Superman moment where I'm different. Why are you different? I haven't done anything to step on any toes. Suddenly, there's a lot more emotional landmines in the landscape. Like, we just found it to be really problematic.
Carolyn said I wore pajamas to work once or twice when I was working at home, and I realized quickly it wasn't good for my mindset. Yep, I agree.
Same.
One other thing on the overeating. Again, if somebody has a problem with even on keto or carnivore, they're overeating, that's where they need to really do an elimination and choose like one or two foods, because a lot of times people will say, well, I ate all of this food, but I'm still hungry. But what are you hungry for?
Yeah.
If you limit to the choice of like, well, I'm still hungry, but the only thing I'm allowed to have is another steak, it changes things up. Because and if you go, well, no, I couldn't eat another steak, then you're not really hungry. There's some kind of a mental thing going on.
Yeah, if you're saying to yourself, I'm really hungry, but for ice cream.
Like, I hate sardines, but if I'm hungry enough, I'm going to eat sardines.
And you really want to, if you are doing some sort of experiment, that you're really checking to see, like, I am only doing beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, but I'm leveraging a lot of barbecue sauce, or I'm eating beef, but it's like in, I'm making a tomato pizza with it or something. So just make sure that if you're saying like, I'm basically just eating carnivore, we'll check and make sure that you're not eating carnivore with dipping sauce, or I'm eating carnivore with like a whole bunch of, sides, because maybe you're thinking like, hey, I'm doing all the things, but it's not as clean as you could be. Maybe it's the things that you're adding to that could be an issue.
Yeah. So a couple more real quick. Dustin said,
hey, Dustin.
Thoughts on Dr. Berry's new post about nitrates. I haven't seen his new post on nitrates. I'll have to go look. I would find it hard to believe he's changed his position on nitrates. And the thing is there's nitrates in many of the foods we eat, natural nitrates. There's nitrates in celery. There's nitrates in your saliva. People ask about his stance has always been like, don't worry about nitrates and nitrites that are in bacon. Don't worry, but it's very minimal. It gets cooked off. It's part of the curing process. So I haven't seen what that is, but I'm assuming it's just a repost of what he's always said, which is, listen, if you can do keto on hot dogs and mustard, if the only thing you can afford is go buy lunch meat, go buy lunch meat. It's going to have nitrates and nitrates in it. Go buy it. Buy the lowest carb. Don't buy sugared ham. But it's one of the least of your worries.
And if you're new here, just know that we're so happy that you're here. Do not feel overwhelmed and join a million groups at once. Everybody, it's kind of like if you're about to get married and have a wedding or you're about to have a baby, everybody has advice for you. So you have to decide, okay, this is where I'm going to get started. Joe and Rachel says leverage whole foods. That's a great place to begin. Try to have 2 to 3 meals a day. Try to, lead with meat, that sort of thing. So you don't have to be scared or think, oh my gosh, I've got to overhaul my whole life. And I don't know if I have 80 hours this week to do all of the things that people are suggesting. Like, just be patient, and you're just starting with doing things that are less bad. Yeah. I love that thought.
2 more real quick. Sandra said, Joan,
hey,
Rachel,
Sandra,
do you do coaching with someone who's been eating a ketogenic diet for a long time, but within the last year diagnosed with type 1 diabetes late onset? Yes. Now, we don't do medical coaching, but we do coaching and can help you with some of the proper things to eat and stuff like that. We have great people in our group, like Paul, who are type 1 diabetics, can probably guide you a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you're a type 1 diabetic, more than anything, you need to stay on a strict ketogenic lifestyle, because you just want to have to limit the amount of times you're going to give yourself that insulin. You are going to have to still, give yourself insulin every day. You're going to have to dose with insulin because your body needs insulin. It is a growth hormone, but you don't want to have to give yourself a ridiculous amount of units. So I would reach out to Paul, because he's been doing keto with type 1 diabetes for years.
Or if you are in our Mighty Networks, go ahead and put a post and then say like, hi, I'm a type 1 diabetic. Who else is type 1 diabetics in the room? And let people answer that. And then you can direct message people within Mighty Networks. So once that you have like a group of friends within the Mighty Networks, now you have an instant Rolodex of resources where you can help one another.
Yeah, but we can coach if you want. Last one's from Kimberly.
Hey, Kimberly.
Can you recommend ketones to order? I'm looking for something to help with energy and moods. I know losing weight helps for moods, but I'm struggling with energy. Okay. We did a whole video on ketones. If you... I don't really like to recommend exogenous ketones. There are a few like HVMN. We can give you links and stuff for them. I would stay away from Prove It for so many reasons. Number one, I think Prove It is too expensive. Number two, I don't like Prove It's marketing practices. It's not an MLM thing. It is the way they market, the way they tell people. And I have had, not just on their website, but I've had their own distributors say that you don't need to follow a ketogenic way of eating to use their product, which is true, and you will still have success in being ketosis and lose weight. I disagree with their marketing practice, plus they're ridiculously expensive. Perfect ketones are pretty good. Understand most of the powdered ones are all coming from the literal same company. They're Go BHB. Most of them all are Go BHB, just different companies where they've put different flavorings and things like that.
So it's a flavor
They're only going to last about 30 minutes. Exogenous ketones will not help you lose weight. In fact, they'll probably hurt you with losing weight. They will give you energy, but it is short-lived, only about a half hour. If you really want exogenous ketones, you want to use a ketone ester.
Taste like terribleness.
They taste horrible. We have links for them on our website.
This is awful. Go here.
Or if you really just need that little bit of boost of energy, the best thing to use is MCT oil. Save your money. Don't buy exogenous ketones. Get yourself some MCT oil. Start off with like a half a teaspoon in the morning or whenever you want. And you'll see that in our exogenous ketones comparison video. Within about 20 minutes, your ketones are going to go higher than any of the exogenous ketone companies, and the ketones last longer, and it costs you pennies.
Yeah.
And that's because MCT turns directly into ketones. And what you really want is C8 MCT. C8 or C10, C8, C10 combo, or the best one is going to be C8 because that's going to be for your brain. But if you're struggling and not having a lot of energy, if you just started keto, it's because you're in transition. The number one cause of not having energy on keto is not ketones. It's actually low electrolytes. Increase your sodium, check out your electrolytes. That's where I would start. If you increase your electrolytes, it almost always helps you get more energy. So I would start off with, if you want to try something, buy Salty. Use the discount link down below and buy Salty. So that's going to be the end of today's video. We're a little late, but we had a lot to talk about today.
We did.
So we're going to head down, take a look at Anthony and Sarah's new apartment. We will be back on Thursday live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
We love you guys.
Bye.